Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Joel.
I'm Matt. I'm Grandpa.
I'm Megan.
I'm Petey.
Hi, Kylie. I'm Lauren.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys. And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Right now, we are just making our way down to the farm market. We've got to get everything set up for the day. We've got to get started, and it is chilly. How you feel about the cold, Callie?
I'm cold.
She's cold, that's all we know. Matthew had beat us down here. It looks like he got the floor already vacuumed, and he's pulling stuff out of the cooler. So we've got a good crew right away this morning. We've got Callie. Callie, what are you coloring?
Parrot.
It's a parrot, good job. So we've just got to get the rest of the stuff put onto the shelves, and then we also need to get some breakfast, and then we'll be good to go to move on to other jobs. Now, while we were setting up the farm market this morning, Dad was out taking care of a very big job, and that big job was picking up this monster of a weigh wagon. That is a big piece of equipment. Now, this weigh wagon does exactly what you think it does. It weighs whatever you put into the hopper, and it's also fixed with an auger so that we can dump it into a truck or into one of our wagons. Now, the reason why we have this weigh wagon is because we want to get our test plot harvested today. And as you guys know, when we harvest our test plot, we need to take down a lot of information, and having weights is very important for that. We're basically going to harvest the corn with the combine. We're going to dump the corn into this bin. It will then be weighed. We'll also be able to test the moisture. We'll be able to find out a ton of information like bushel per acre, the moisture, everything we need to know, test weight. And then once we have all that information, we'll be able to dump it right into our bin and later on sell it. Now, we're doing this for a few reasons. Probably the biggest reason is that my dad sells seed. So whether it's corn, soybeans, wheat, and by having a test plot, it allows us to share more information with the people that live in the local area. So if a farmer was maybe thinking about getting a certain variety of corn or a certain variety of beans, we can tell them, hey, in our local area, this is what we saw over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Not only does planting a test plot give us more information, but it also gives us more seed. The seed that we don't use in the test plot, we can plant anywhere, and then it allows us to have a little bit more income from that. We'll go into that in more detail later on, but for now, we've got to head down around back and get the animals taken care of. There is just traffic everywhere. Come on, let's go! So we're actually in a little bit of a bind when it comes to feeding animals this morning. We don't have enough grain for the cattle. So while Dad was out, he picked up some salt and he picked up some molasses. And what we're gonna have to do this morning is get some feed ground for our cattle. So for now, the cattle are just gonna be getting silage. Later on, we will be adding the grain. I had a few people asking about the cats that we have running around here. It started off with just 2, and now there's like 8, I think. I think every farm goes through phases where there's just like all of a sudden a lot of barn cats. But as they all get older, they'll be moving on to different places. But for now, we got a little pride going. As I was getting ready to collect eggs, it occurred to me that we had a few baskets that were full, so I think it's a good idea to get the eggs graded and then start collecting for the day. I have 2 baskets already done, but I just want to make some room so that we don't have to worry about it later on, and then tomorrow we can collect eggs without even having to worry about grading. The eggs that we had in the baskets have now all been graded. While I was grading the eggs, Daniel and Dad were pulling out the feed grinder. It's all hooked up and just about ready to go. So while they get started on that, I'm gonna get all the eggs collected, so that's one less job we gotta worry about. Good morning, ladies. Collecting eggs is one of those jobs I really don't mind doing. You do it every day, you know. I enjoy being with the animals, but collecting eggs has never really bothered me. Now when it's really, really hot, I don't like collecting eggs, but I don't like doing much when it's really, really hot. First basket of eggs all collected. And here we have our second basket of eggs. On grinding the cattle feed, and it's on the easier side because we know how much weight is in each one of our totes and how much weight is in the bags, so we can make sure that we have the correct nutrition for our animals just solely based off weight. So when we add everything into the grinder and then mix, the cattle will have a balanced feed that they'll be able to enjoy on top of all the silage, grain, and hay. Did I say silage, grain, and hay? I meant silage, grass, and hay. Man, I just get confused sometimes. We're thankful we have that long auger on our feed grinder. It makes loading into our bin a lot easier. Now we can fill about 2 batches into this bin, and then we're good for an extended period of time. It's one less job we have to worry about when we have this thing filled. So every time we grind feed, we try and make sure that we fill it up. As we've been grinding feed, there hasn't been too many jobs I could do because, well, all the jobs have been taken up. So I've been doing a little cleaning up around these feeders. Every single time you feed, you get a little bit that spills onto the ground. It just happens, and we try and stay on top of it. But when you're busy, sometimes you just move on to the next job and it gets forgotten. So I've just been doing a little cleaning up. Got it. Whoa, 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 we can't let this cow escape. Oh, man, aren't I just funny?
Hilarious.
You have it wrapped on the... Don't shock yourself. You're gonna shock yourself. You know, Dad, they say it's much warmer today than it was yesterday.
Oh, it feels that way.
The temperature was much colder, but there was no wind. Today, there's just tons of wind. And as all of you know, when it is windy outside, whoo, does it feel a lot colder. We're getting all set up to go and harvest our test plot. I got some warmer gear on because, well, there's no buildings to stop the wind out there. I'm gonna take the truck down around back so we can get the gate put on, and then I think we'll be good to go. Now, most of you have seen us do this before, but just as a refresher and some information for people that are new here, what we're gonna be doing is going variety by variety, harvesting 6 rows of corn. Now, we have the field mapped out, and we have an algorithm that we can use to find out all the information that we need. So once we decide which rows of corn we're gonna be harvesting, Dad goes through with the combine. We then offload from the combine into our weigh wagon. We then pull the corn out, test the moisture. We will get the test weight, and we'll also be able to figure out bushel per acre. And once we are finished with that, we dump it into our truck. So what I'm doing right now is going through and pulling out all our signs. We have the entire field mapped out, so even if the signs weren't here, we know what variety of corn is next. I'm just trying to get the signs out of the way so we don't have any accidents. We don't want to destroy any of these signs, and we don't want to destroy our combine. That would not be fun. So how has everything been looking so far?
Everything's been looking pretty good.
I hopped up in the combine with Dad, and I'm not going to be too distracting. He's got a piece of paper that's full of numbers, and he's trying to keep track of every variety that he's picking. So I'm just going to sit with him and observe.
Next variety we're cutting is a brand new variety. It's PO5737, where it's going to be exciting to see how it does.
Everything's looking good. Corn is yielding nice. The only thing we've noticed with certain varieties, the moisture has been a little high. So that could be for numerous of reasons, but from what we've seen, everything's looking good and we're happy with what we're getting. We are thinking about trying to move on and harvest some more corn today. We just have to see how the moisture is at the fields that we were thinking about cutting. We have a few farms that are a little distance away from the home farm, and we're hoping to get those taken care of early on. Taking a walk through the field just to see if I'm finding any kernels on the ground, and I don't seem to be finding any, which is a really good sign for us, because if we're finding kernels on the ground, that means we're losing it out of the back of the machine, and that's lost profit. But no, everything's looking good here. Not finding any. That's what we like to see. Test weight so far on that one. I was talking to Matt a little bit. He said the test plot is not as good as it was last year, and that's to be expected. Our early growing season was not the best. The year before, everything grew a lot nicer. The weather later on in the year was nicer for the test plot. By that point, we didn't have the great start that we wanted. I mean, the numbers aren't bad by any means, but they're nothing compared to last year.
A lot of stress on these plants this year. When you have a lot of stress on your plants, they don't yield as well.
So I've been kind of helping Dad out a little bit. Daniel has been running the weigh wagon, Matthew's been testing everything, and Petey has been getting our samples. Matthew has a picture from last year of the test plot that we did, and the numbers don't look too far off, which actually shocked us. The moisture is a little bit different.
It's a lot higher.
But besides that, everything's looking kind of similar. Now the biggest difference is bushel per acre. That is a little bit lower, but again, that's from the stress of the year. For the most part though, everything does look pretty good. The truck is about as full as we would like it, so we've got the wagon in place now to unload onto there. And let me tell you, it is so cute watching Daniel jump up in this tractor. He's smiling the whole time. So Daniel, how do you feel about your new tractor?
This is the first time I've been driving it. That stinking Joel guy stole it.
I know, he's been driving it all over the place.
It's my tractor. The biggest issue now is you get in and the settings are all left-handed.
Dad is now finishing off our last variety on the test plot, and that will finish off our morning. And I have to say, getting the test plot finished, well, that makes it a great morning. Dad's offloading the last of the corn. It is lunchtime, so the rest of us are gonna be heading back to the farm. Once we are done with lunch, we're gonna have to move some things around to start unloading. This truck will be the first bit of corn going into the big bin, so that's exciting. Let's see, what are we having for lunch? Looks like we're having chicken, lettuce, tomato, bacon sandwiches, and some sticky buns. Oh, what a deal. We just got finished with lunch. We were talking about what we wanted to do. We felt it was a good idea to go over and test the moisture on the corn, which is what we're doing right now. Now, the farm is a little distance away. The boys went on the side-by-side. We're taking the van over. It's kind of difficult to get down in the bottom, so using the side-by-side is good for that. Got a lot of corn over here. Well, from the outside, this is looking pretty good. We got lots of ears hanging here. What do you think? I think there's a lot of moisture in there. Ah, what in the world? What are you doing out in this cornfield?
I was looking for some food.
We just arrived at the other farm. This corn also looks really good. Now we're just gonna try and figure out what kind of moisture we're dealing with. What do you think?
It's drier than over there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come over here and start to...
Between the two farms that we just went to, we think this one, the corn, is a little on the drier side. And probably is gonna be where we start today. You know, a farmer told me one time you can't tell a secret in a cornfield.
I know, there's too many ears.
Well, Dad and I went to check the other farm. The boys came down around back to get our auger in place to start loading corn. And it looks like I got here just in time to see him finish it off. One of the best things about working on the farm is plans are always subject to change. And yeah, that happens here a lot. We were originally gonna go to that one farm, but we are gonna be going to the other one. The other farm is a little on the wet side, and we wanna get it harvested before we have any more moisture coming around. I don't think it's gonna rain the next couple days, but if it does, then those fields are kind of shut down for a while. So if we can get them taken care of now, we're gonna work on that. I'm gonna be back here at the farm helping out any way I can, getting corn put up into that bin, and if the boys need any help backing up their equipment, I'll be there for them. I definitely will not have the most exciting job this afternoon, but every job's important on the farm when you work together. Does it feel good to be back harvesting corn again? The year's over. What am I gonna do now? I don't know what to tell you, Daniel. You're just gonna have to hang out with Sadie more.
I like hanging out with Sadie.
So we were able to get a few loads into the bin. We've got the dryer running. Yeah, it's been a successful day. A successful start to corn harvest. And it is starting to get late here on the farm, so we called it quits. And yeah, it's time to close up the farm market. Well, everyone, farm market is now all closed up, so we are on our way home. It's very cold outside, but now that we are home, we're getting ready to have some dinner. And Lauren, what are we having for dinner tonight?
Orange chicken, fried rice, and egg rolls.
Woo-hoo-hoo, sounds good to me. Callie, are you ready for dinner?
Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty, we are now all at the dinner table, so that means this is where we're gonna end the video today. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.